In a world that's searching for truth and light, we gather stories to share inside. Authors with wisdom, their voices ring. In the exchange show, we bring hope and guidance. Welcome to the exchange where stories unfold. Faith and inspiration are treasures to behold. The words and wisdom, our spirits grow. Join us on this journey on the exchange show.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Exchange Show, where stories unfold. So thank you for joining us. I am your host, Berthanna Oxendine. I thank God we are here together today on the Exchange Show. Listen, like and share and invite someone to watch with you on YouTube. All the links you would need to become a part of our networking community, they are listed in the description on the video. So here at the Exchange Show, I have the awesome privilege of talking to some of God's gifted authors and then hearing their story. They share a message of hope, faith, love, and guidance in different situations. So to tell you some things about myself, I am Berthanna Oxendine. I am a certified life coach. I am an encourager. I am a pastor, a mother, and an international best-selling author. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring our guest to the screen. And her name is Sheri Miter. And we're so glad to have you today, Mrs. Miter.
Well, thank you for having me. And just please call me Sheri.
Sheri, okay. Well, Miss Sheri, Sheri, I'm glad that you was willing to come to be a guest on our show today. And we're going to start off with you telling us some things about yourself.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest today on the podcast. I'm excited to have this conversation. A little bit about myself personally. I am a mom of 3 grown sons and have 8 beautiful grandchildren that we've been blessed with. I've been married to my husband for 40 years and 1 day. We celebrated our 40th anniversary yesterday,
Right.
which is unbelievable. We always joke and said, yep, they said it wouldn't work because we were so young. We were babies ourselves when we think back of when we got married. But love adventures. My father was military and I have that gypsy soul, gypsy blood, and love to seek out new things, new adventures, and, enjoy life in the moment. Professionally, I came from 25 years in direct sales. I was a sales consultant and director with Mary Kay Cosmetics for over 25 years. And it was there that I fell in love with professional development, personal development. I joined the company not because I was into skincare and makeup, really, even though I do still use their products. I love their products. I did it so I could be a work from home mom. And that's why I joined that. Thought it was going to be my passion, my career for my entire life. And like 2018, 2019, I just started feeling this angst that God was calling me to do something else. And that led me to what I do today of being an author, of discovering your calling, coaching women with helping them find their passion and calling, and doing workshops around Clifton Strengths, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yes. That is great. I'm familiar with Mary Kay. I have a couple of relatives that were Mary Kay consultants and I have used their product before. And yes, I'm familiar with Mary Kay. But then something happened and made you realize, no, that's not just exactly what I want to do. So that takes us into the title of your book, Discovering Your Calling.
Yes.
So why'd you name it that? I mean, Discovering Your Calling. I mean,
honestly, it came from, I guess the first time I started using Discovering Your Calling was when I created my own podcast.
Okay.
And honestly, Discover Your Calling was taken. So I had to add the ing. And so, yeah, the name was nothing that for the book, it just became my thing. You know, I had my podcast, I started coaching. My framework that I coach people with is called Discovering Your Calling. So it just felt like the natural thing to do was to name the book Discovering Your Calling. And, you know, I take people through a whole process of figuring out what is that thing that God is calling you to do right now in this season of your life.
Wow. Well, I know when I think of discovering your calling, it's like it's an ongoing journey.
100%. 100%. And I do believe, because a lot of people ask, is there one calling? And I believe that there are definitely seasons, you know.
Yeah. Most definitely. We totally agree. I do. Because like, you know, look at your life. You're looking back at your life, the different things that you did has led up to what you're doing right now. But have you ever always wanted to write books?
No,
write a book?
No, I never had any desire. I have a vivid imagination. And I remember even as a child, I have one sister, and her and I would make up things. We'd make up commercials. Like we were doing puppet shows, doing all these things, and very creative, but I was never good in English. So I can't smell. I can't pronounce words half the time. And I was horrible with grammar. So writing a book was never really something in my heart. I love to journal. Like I've always been passionate about journaling, but that's just for me. It's writing for me. I was writing a blog just because I do feel like I have so many ideas that I want to share with people. But writing a book kind of surprised me. And honestly, the year I wrote the book, actually, the seed to write the book came from my middle son and his wife.
Okay.
Because my whole coaching program does have a workbook. And I hired somebody to create this beautiful workbook. And that was her gift of being able to design it beautifully. And I was showing it to my son, and him and his wife both said, you know, that could be a book someday.
Okay.
So that was the first seed that was kind of planted on even writing a book. And then a couple of years ago, I just was in a place in my life where my body, I felt like, you know, menopause hit hard, to be honest. And I just felt like my body was breaking down on me. And I just kept hearing God say, rest and write, rest and write. And I was not obedient. And the more I was not obedient, the more I was forced to rest. And I decided just to kind of lean into it eventually and spent the summer writing the book. And, you know, it was actually a very joyful process. I really enjoyed once I, you know, leaned into it and gave into that. It just kind of flowed really well. The publishing and all that's a lot of work, but the writing itself, because it was based on my story and my framework, it came naturally. I feel like God definitely had his hand on it.
So he definitely, when God sends us here, he knows exactly why he sent us here, and he knows exactly what he wants us to do. So, and it's like our apostle says, she said, God's going to have his way, the easy way, you know, for us, the easy way or the hard way. Like you said, the more you ignored it, the more you had to be still.
Yes. Yeah.
Until you decided to do what he said. And I seen the under capture on your book says that the ambitious women's guide to finding fulfillment, freedom, impact, and joy. So sounds like when you began to discover your calling for what God has you in this season, how the joy come and the freedom come, and you begin to feel, you know, fulfilled in yourself.
Right. And the subtitle came from, and it's again, my own story. I mean, they say we usually, as coaches, as you know, we usually coach a lot on things we've overcome or our own journeys, because we're just that few steps ahead of somebody else, and to reach back and help somebody else. Because when I made that decision to leave Mary Kay and leave that direct sales, I was actually at the pinnacle of success. We had just earned that pink Cadillac that everybody, knows about. And,
Yes.
when you say you're in Mary Kay, everybody's like, oh, do you have that pink Cadillac? And I had earned other cars. I actually ended up being quite successful in that career. But that was the beginning of the like, wow, do I want to continue to work this hard? Do I want to continue to strive? Do I want to continue to hustle, which is the mode I felt like I was in. And I'd also been, a couple of years earlier, had been exposed to Clifton Strengths Finders. And I realized that a lot of my natural God-given talents weren't being used in my position. But at the same time, I was ambitious. So it didn't, like, a lot of things just didn't make sense when if you looked at it on paper. Like, it didn't make sense that I would leave at the pinnacle of success. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to my friends. It didn't make sense to my husband. It just, and I feel like so many women that I work with, that's where they are, that they're very successful, and their friends, their peers, everybody looks at them as like, wow, you've got it made. You're making great money. You've got the title, you got the, the corner office and everything they've worked hard for. But yet they have that angst that something just feels off now. And they're searching for that fulfillment. They're searching for more freedom. They're searching for that really inner joy that only can come when you are really dialed into your true calling.
Well, with you experiencing that yourself, then, to me, that helps you be qualified to help somebody else, to realize that maybe they're not where they want to be. And so by you sharing all this in your book, it helps others to realize, that's what I'm feeling. That's what's missing, So, and then you talked about the waypoints in your book.
Yeah. So I use a lot of sailing analogies. My husband and I call us boatless sailors right now. We do not have a boat right now, but we've had, several sailboats. We got into sailing, I don't even know, 15 years ago, and loved it. And we actually lived on a sailboat for 7 months. We fulfilled a couple years ago, we fulfilled a dream of ours to travel on a sailboat we made it from Clinton, Connecticut. We made it as far as North Carolina. We wanted to hit the Bahamas, but we realized midway in this journey that living on a sailboat and owning one were two totally different stories. But it was a great adventure. And anyway, because of that, I have always infused a lot of sailing analogies. I feel like life and sailing are so parallel. So I call them waypoints, but they're basically phases. And my whole discovering your calling process is based on 4 core concepts, you could call it. The one is you, where we go really deep into what are your natural strengths? What are your values? What are the skills that energize you? And that's a huge piece. And then we go into vision, and all the waypoints kind of fit into these 4 elements. Then we go into your vision. And, I say in most careers, we create the career, we create the work, we create the business, and then we have to fit life in all the little leftover spots, which doesn't really give us that freedom and fulfillment in life as a whole. And my big thing now is like, let's flip that. Let's figure out, what do you really want in life? And then create a career or work that fits around that allows you to have that style of life, whether you want that freedom and fulfillment to travel, or you want to be a pillar in your community. Those are 2 different types of work that you need to have.
Right.
Based on that. So the vision's a really big piece that a lot of people don't think about when they're thinking about, what am I supposed to be doing? So we spend time talking about that. What's the vision for your ideal life? And then we move into your purpose-driven problem. And this is that, I call it that problem that you see in not necessarily even the world, but your world. So it could be in your home. It could be in your community. It could be in your job. But there's some little thing that just bothers you that you think like, why do people do that? Why do they do it that way? What if they change something? And there's something that God made you see that problem that nobody else even notices sometimes.
Yeah. He
And if,
stirred up that interest in you.
right. So if you can see it, then you probably have the skills, the knowledge, the expertise, and the strengths to solve that problem. So we talk a lot about that. And then the last part is the impact and income. It's like, what's the impact you can make in the world, but also, we need to make income, right? We have to have a sustainable success. So the waypoints all fit into those 4 core pillars, those 4 core elements.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, what we're going to do here, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
All right.
Today's sponsor is Open Door Tabernacle Training Center, a church of love. They are located at 522 Wilson Avenue, Johnson City, Tennessee. You are welcome to join each Sunday at 11 a.m. For more information, you can email them at odttc1@gmail.com.
Well, welcome back to the Exchange Show, and our special guest today is Miss Sheri Miter, and her book is Discovering Your Calling. And if you're wanting to know your why, like why you're here, and it's important to know why you're here. This is an excellent book. To me, it takes you on a journey, and she shares her journey. But knowing why you're being placed here on the earth realm, discovering your calling, what's for you? I'll say what's for you to help. And then too, I realized in her book, by you writing this is helping somebody else. You got helped, but yet and still it helped somebody else when you were writing it. So what changes began to happen in you when you started writing, discovering your calling? What do you feel started happening within yourself?
Well, it definitely gave me clarity that I was on the right path. Prior to writing, I had been coaching some people on the whole process of it, but I also dabble in some other things. And, as the world's noisy, so we have a lot of distractions, and it really helped me see that, no, wait, this is a path, this is a journey that I feel like if everybody was living in their calling and working in their calling, it would just be a happier world. I mean, it sounds so simplistic, but we would have more energy. We'd have more sustainable success and just be happier. I mean, there's so many people out there that they take work on or a job because it seems like the right thing to do, or it's the best paying job, or just for the wrong reasons. And then they end up, thinking, well, this is life, and I'm going to do this for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And then after that, I'll enjoy life. I'll retire and then I can enjoy life. And, to me, it's really about just find what you're supposed to be doing right now in this season and do it well and enjoy it and enjoy all of life, no matter where you are.
Well, I feel that, we need to, and like you said, enjoy life, and what may be good in one season may not be you anymore in the next season. And, it's, to me, what come to mind, it's just like, say, when you don't know your calling, you got on the wrong size shoe.
Right. Yes.
And it's hurt, and it's hurting, but you got to realize that your feet's grown, so you're not in that shoe anymore. So it's time to move on to the other things that God has for you.
Right.
And as you learn your calling, then how it can bless somebody else to be able to move from where they're stuck into the true calling that God has for them, the why that they're here. And so how do you feel? How important is it for somebody to know what their calling is?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think it's super important. What I find is a lot of the people that come to me is okay, I know I need to make a change. Usually it's happening because it's not burnout. And I think that's the thing is a lot of people feel oh, it's time to make a career change when they're burned out. But a lot of times, again, that ambitious woman, that person that is just feeling that angst that they can't even put their finger on that we talked about earlier. A lot of times they're bored. because they've done all they could in the job that they're at.
Right.
So they're feeling this boredom, this like, I'm not using the gifts that God put inside of me anymore. They're also suffering from sometimes almost a decision fatigue, because there's this, should I make a career change? Should I not? What about this? What about that? There's all these fears that start to show up. And, you know, it's a scary thing, because again, a lot of times we've been successful at our work, and financially it may not seem to make sense to leave that and to step into something new. So there's a lot of, again, just that indecision fatigue, that fear, that is this worth the risk? And then it's like, what the heck am I even supposed to be doing? There's no clarity. So they have no clarity, no strategy. But what happens if, again, goes back to kind of like me ignoring the rest and right message. When we ignore all these things, it will manifest somehow. And whether that shows up in our relationships suffer.
Yes.
Because we're not happy and we're taking it out on the wrong people, usually the people we love, or a lot of times our well-being suffers. Because again, there's something just, we can't even describe it a lot of times, but there's just something not feeling right, and it can manifest with our well-being. So if we don't make the changes we're being called to make, then, like I said, it's usually well-being or relationships that start to suffer.
Well, and two, you're not satisfied and you're hurting. But then too, also, I feel you can hurt other people because you're in the wrong place.
Right.
You know? And
right.
So that's one thing I like about your book. It's it takes you on a journey, and then it helps you to find your, like it says, discovering your calling. You know, when you were talking about, you know, the waypoints, and then you have 8, I think it was 8 other. What was that? There was 8 other points in there that you mentioned that you, I can't think of the word you used, but it was 8 points that they go through.
Yep. So it's 8 waypoints. So the 4 core elements, and then the 8 waypoints. I'm just pulling up my book here. So so waypoint 1 is we navigate your strengths, which that's based on Gallup's Clifton Strengths Assessment. That's a huge piece of it. And because that shows you, when you take that assessment from Gallup, that shows you what your natural God-given talents are. It's your talent DNA, how you naturally think, feel, and behave. And that is really the core basis of everything I do. And then waypoint 2 is visioneering your life. Waypoint 3 is skill set and energy flow. And in that one, we talk about not just the skills that you're good at, because there's a lot of things we've all learned how to do and do well, but they're exhausting to us, you know? So we do an energy audit there. It's like, what are those skills that, yes, you're capable of doing, but actually give you joy and energize you? And we go into a journey of going in the past, of looking at your values, your passions, your childhood dreams. I love to ask the questions like, what was that thing that you loved to do as a kid? And you know, those are all clues. The finding your purpose-driven passion, the impact and income, strengths-based goal setting is waypoint 7. And then we finish with creating a personal mind map. So you have a strategy. So those are the 8 waypoints that you go through.
Well, I love the way you have it written to help people find out what their calling is. And in there, I also learned you learn some things about yourself that you didn't even realize that you didn't know. And as you're on this journey, you begin to learn yourself more. And the questions that you ask, which caused me to begin to think about, what do I really like? Why do I like that? You know, and the things that I like to do more than I like to do some other things. And also you mentioned about not worrying about your weaknesses, but be concerned, you know, look at your strong points, the things that you're strong in. And a lot of times we begin to look at the thing, oh, I can't do this. What we can't do instead of looking at what we can do.
Right, right. And exactly what you just said, Berthanna, about like, I feel like when people go through the book, even if they're not ready for a career change, you will learn, like you said, more about yourself than you've ever really spent time. If you do the work, it is set up to be almost a manual
Yes.
for you. It's meant to be, read it, sit down and journal what's coming up, answer the questions, download the free workbook. It's not really meant to be a story to sit down on a cold, wintry afternoon and read the entire book from cover to cover. I mean, you could, it's a pretty easy read, but it's really about doing the work that's inside of it. And you may discover that, hey, I am in the right career field. I just have to make a few tweaks. I have to make a few changes.
Right.
Or you might discover like, oh, I am totally not in this right career field anymore. I need to make some major changes.
Well, one thing about it in your book, I'm quite sure with the directions that you're giving them, you can find out where you're supposed to be in order if you're in the right place. And one other question, because the time is getting close for us to wrap up, what would be for those that are purchasing your book, what would you want them? What was one of the main things you'll want them to get out of this book, or why the importance of purchasing the book?
One, I think what we just said, I think you'll find out more about yourself and your natural gifts and talents. That we all have gifts and talents aren't about being able to sing well or dance well or play a sport well. It's how you naturally think, feel, and behave. And God designed you for something special. And, in Romans, and I'm horrible with, I earmarked it here, but Romans 12:6-8 really speaks to this. Like, figure out what your gift is and then go do it. It's a biblical principle. Like, just, whatever you have, and quick, we're so tempted to compare and want to be like somebody else, but maybe that's not our gift. So figure out what yours are and own them and do them well, and go share them with other people. And the ripple effect that we can have when we do that is amazing.
Amen. So for those who are purchasing your book, how can they get a hold of your book?
So it's on Amazon right now. That is the only place. I need, plan on expanding that in the new year, but right now it's on Amazon. There's an ebook and also the paperback and a hard copy of the book on Amazon.
Okay. Are you planning to write any more books?
I don't know. Not right now, but if I do, I might just expand this one and make it geared towards specific, like maybe discovering your calling for college students, or discovering your calling for the Christian woman, and insert more biblical principles in there. That I have. I don't know though. I'll wait and see what God has to say, and hopefully it's not because I have to rest and write next time. So
next time you're like, I'm going to be obedient from the first call.
Right. Yeah. So,
but thank you so much for being our guest today. I have truly enjoyed reading your book, and I would encourage anyone, if you don't know what your calling is, purchase the book, The Discovering Your Calling. Or if you're in a place where you're ready to move on to another place, get the book. It will help give you guidance and direction how to come to that place. So this is a wrap for this episode of this Change Show. Again, I thank our guest, Miss Sheri Miter. And I encourage you to grab a copy of the book and invite someone to join in the Ken community. So until our next time, I am Berthanna Oxendine. I pray abundance upon each of you until I see you on another episode of The Exchange Show. God bless you.
Faith and inspiration are treasures to behold. Through words and wisdom, our spirits grow. Join us on this journey on The Exchange Show. Hope in the whispers, guidance in the prose, faith in the stories where the heart knows. A tapestry of voices woven with care. In every episode, it is a blessing to share. Welcome to the exchange where stories unfold. Faith and inspiration.